I want to bring in CTV's royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen, now with more. So, Richard, let's begin with the doctor's orders that she remain at the castle, that she stay comfortable. Certainly this feels different this time. It seems more grave. Your thoughts, and what are you learning this morning?
I think that this is the kind of announcement we expected when the Queen's condition took a turn, such that the palace felt a need to prepare the public for all eventualities, and particularly with the gathering of family. There's a suggestion that this is indeed a very serious moment. I mean, it comes as a bit of a surprise because we did have the photographs of the Queen on Tuesday, but of course we have all noted how frail and how feeble she increasingly has been. And, you know, the postponing of a very important constitutional element in the change of government yesterday, meeting of Privy Council members, certainly was unusual for the Queen. This is someone who obviously has reveled and felt a duty to continue her constitutional duties all throughout what has obviously been declining health. Now, we had thought the Queen was suffering mobility issues, possibly back pain, maybe some other elements as she becomes increasingly stooped. But perhaps something else has taken place, or this condition of the Queen has been more serious than we've been led to believe. And this morning, the palace is very clearly making a statement, because they simply do not comment in this fashion on the Queen's health ever.
Right, right. And Richard, going back to the other day, when she officially appointed Liz Truss, a lot of people noticed in that photo the Queen's hands. They look dark and almost bruised. Certainly neither of us are medical experts, but that raised some red flags with people wondering what that meant. And now, as you point out, all of her family, all of her 4 children are there gathered by her side. William is there as well. And I understand the Duchess of Cambridge has stayed behind. She's with her children because it was their first day of school. Nonetheless, everybody is there. So what now, I guess, is my question to you. What happens now?
Well, obviously, we are all waiting to see if the Queen has some miraculous recovery or rallies. It's not really how I sort of read between the lines of that news release at this point. So it's going to depend on, you know, really that situation. And the palace, I think, will make an announcement if family are in fact all there. Once governments and a few key people have been informed, they will make an announcement should there be a turn for the worse and the worst possible news. Obviously, you know, what's interesting to me is that the Queen loves Balmoral. Mm-hmm. She and her husband spent part of their honeymoon there. She spent part of the war there. It was important to her father. It was important to all generations of the royal family since Queen Victoria. Traditions are maintained since the time of Queen Victoria there. Her children have spoken, her grandchildren have spoken about how important it is to her. She has, from many reports, had a good summer with many members of family coming to visit. She was seen out picnicking, walking dogs at points. So it's very interesting to me that this turn should take place there, where the Queen really, I think, has a bit of a spiritual home, and her heart really lies in the highlands of the Scottish wilderness.
Very well said. The Queen is 96. That cannot be lost on anyone. Most of us can't remember, anyone living right now who can't remember a time when the Queen was not Her Majesty. And so there are preparations underway. Is London prepared?
Well, I think one is prepared as one can be for any eventuality, and certainly the preparations, you know, have been a bit ghoulishly updated and, you know, with more frequency in recent years, and there's quite a strong plan in place. Of course, the reality of what actually happens kind of changes that, and there were contingencies for the Queen, you know, leaving us at various residences. The Scottish one, you know, creates some interesting challenges simply because of the length of time it takes to get between London and Scotland. So that certainly will be looked at. But the reality is that, you know, there's a continuity. The Queen, when the Queen moves on, the Prince of Wales becomes king. And the continuity of the crown, the continuity of the state is assured. And it's something none of us hope for, but we all recognize, I think, particularly with the passing of Prince Philip last year, that the Queen's days were numbered, because that was a very significant blow, for her in terms of her inner circle, someone who'd been with her, for so long, and such a long marriage. I think also there was a marked decline in the Queen's health following COVID. And once she returned to engagements, she took on too much last October, and we really have not seen her on the same basis since then. And of course, she made fleeting and the minimal appearances she had to make for her Platinum Jubilee.
Which is not her. Everything that we know about her is duty first. She puts her priorities, her work first and foremost.
Yes, absolutely. And again, she was performing her constitutional duties up till Tuesday. For her not to have gone to London and to have inconvenienced, and that's how she would have seen it, two fairly significant politicians, the outgoing Prime Minister and the incoming Prime Minister, to have brought them all the way up to Balmoral, which is 800 or 900 kilometers. They did fly, but it still takes a bit of time. Yeah. It's an hour drive or more from Aberdeen Airport to the castle, which is in the remote part of the Scottish Highlands. For her not to have gone back to London for that was, I think, quite telling. What was even more telling was that this Privy Council meeting was postponed yesterday. That is not the Queen's style at all. And so these are big changes in her approach to duty. But of course, Elizabeth II has clearly been undertaking her duty to the end. And there's absolutely no one, except maybe finally a few doctors, that have been able to dissuade her.
So again, Richard, just to go full circle here, as we understand, and maybe we can pop that shot up again of Balmoral, all the entrances that I understand have been sealed off. There are guards at every entrance to the castle. All of the Queen's 4 children are there. Her grandson William is there. Harry is on his way. What in that statement from Buckingham Palace struck you and said to you, this is different, this is serious?
I think it is this. You read between the lines of the palace's statements, and it's very, very clear to me that they do not make statements like that unless things are very serious. They refer to the seriousness of the situation, the medical supervision, that she would remain at Balmoral, and then there are subsequent briefings about members of the family. These are the two signals that the palace, in a way, is trying to prepare the public for maybe the worst possible news.
Richard Berthelsen, our royal commentator here at CTV News, thank you so much for being with us. As always, I really appreciate it.